Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company of Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're going to have ourselves a 1v1 on Langreskaya. Our heroes today are going to be Barton. That's right, it's Barton. If you don't know who Barton is, well, I don't know where you've been. You should probably check out the Sunday Night Fights tournament. Anyways, it's going to be Barton playing for the Soviets, and his opponent today is going to be Chukonoku playing for the Germans in the red. Now, right off the bat, we see Barton selecting his Doctrine, and that is the Advanced Warfare Tactics. You can see it right there. It is the new Doctrine introduced for the Soviet faction. It did get released as a free one because of a little competition between Company Heroes and Total War, but I believe now it does actually cost something, so if you didn't get it back then, well, I guess you're out of luck. But it is rather interesting. It is, as you can see there, it gives you that the map hacks that tells you what your opponent is doing. And then you have PPS Sages, repairs for your conscripts. You can call in a T-3485, and also the IL-2 Sturmovik strafing. So it's looks pretty solid. And well, Barton's using that, and because of that, he's also getting conscripts, which probably he would have gotten anyways, but already up to 3 conscripts. Chukonoku, for his part, has not gotten any doctrines yet. He built himself tier 1 like you would expect most Germans to do. Got 2 grenadiers, one right there, one in the center, and getting himself an MG42 as a 3rd unit from tier 1. While nothing happens, we can also take a look at the bulletins. Pretty much everybody's just buffing up their main infantry. You see Barton going for the 5% cooldown, the 3% accuracy, and the 2-2 split for his conscripts. And you have Chukonoku going for the 5% cooldown, 3% accuracy, and the 2-2 split for the grenadiers. So yeah, pretty much just making sure that your infantry is buffed, which is what most people, well, I wouldn't say most people, but it's a solid thing to do, because these types of units, you're pretty much always going to have them around throughout the entire game. So making them, you know, a little bit stronger, or as strong as possible, you know, makes sense. For example, buffing up, say, your T-34s on the Soviet, it would work if you're going for that, but sometimes you don't always want to go for that, unless you already had a pre-planned strategy. But, you know, like I said, that's just more of a well-rounded one without having to worry. Anyways, we see a small engagement on the left-hand side by the fuel. The combat engineers were trying to go for it, but, well, the grenadiers and Pios forced them away rather quickly. Barton retreating pretty much instantly, not wanting to risk any amount of damage on the squad. Conscripts in the center going for the victory point, while more conscripts just flood the field. We have 3 conscripts right now in the center, with a 4th one on the right-hand side, prepared for a little bit of a flank. Grenadiers moving to intercept. MG42 setting up to cover the approach. Conscripts over here gonna pass through the hole in the hedge. And these conscripts over here have a nice flank set up here on this MG42. Barton does not want to push just yet. Did take a little bit of a burst there for a second, but looks like he decides to stop. MG42 packing up and moving back to a different angle. He notices that it's a little bit too exposed, and he's now covering the right-hand side. Conscripts on the left, now passing through, going over for the munitions. And we have more MG42s coming out onto the field. These conscripts might be able to get stopped. MG42 sets up, but they rush into the house, so they will be able to stay out of harm's way. A second conscript squad moving in through the hedge, coming in for a flank on that MG42. The MG42 on the right-hand side is stopping a conscript squad in the road. Does not manage to get a suppression, and the conscripts on the right-hand side are duking it against a grenadier squad, and they're losing that fight. Conscripts over on the left-hand side jump out of the house and are going to be able to get a nice flank on that MG42. Do we have Molotovs? Yes, we do. Barton already has Molotov set up. Winds up. There goes the toss, and that MG42... No, he actually cancels it. Nice reaction there by Barton. Saves his munitions, but the conscript squad is down to 2 men. Molotov landing on the grenadiers that are engaging them. Oh, nice crit on that grenadier squad. Kills 2 pretty much instantly and forces the retreat. Conscripts uraying across the field, trying to get themselves behind that MG42. MG42 on the right-hand side going for the cap, sets up, but these conscripts are already well past that, and a grenadier squad down to 2 men, running straight through the squad. The squad does not stop, however, to try to eliminate it. It is going for the high priority target, which is the MG42, and it will manage to get that MG42 out of there. MG42 packs up, forced to retreat, and Chukonoku brings this other MG42 back out onto the field. Grenadiers in the center engaging with some Pios for support against the conscript squad. Molotov landing on the Pios. The Pios dodge that without much of a problem, and the conscripts are forced to retreat through the flames of their own Molotov, while some Grenadiers just shoot them as they run. Combat Engineers up in the north, capturing the point. Thankfully for Barton, he did capture the center victory point, which means that he is still connecting the right-hand side resources up until this last second. However, he is about to capture the point back once again, and will reconnect his resources without much of a loss. Whew, a lot of fighting here. Pios forced to retreat due to 2 conscript spots on top of them. Grenadiers taking cover in that fence, duking it out with the conscripts. Molotov landing on the Grenadiers. Grenadiers forced to retreat. There they go. And MG42 setting up, covering the entire approach. They don't have a direct line of sight, but it is covering the... Oh, what the... Yeehaw! Oh my god, what the hell is going on? Okay. What kind of... I don't even know. Okay, well, we'll just pretend that didn't happen. Okay, right hand side. What the hell was that? Seriously. What the hell? Look at that, they're still tangled up. Anyways, conscripts over on the right hand side jump into the house. More conscripts engaging the Grenadiers. MG42 setting up, covering the entire approach. Although this one on the left hand side, yeah, there it goes, turns around and covers the left hand side approach. Conscript engaging Grenadiers, getting shot at, forced to retreat. And on the far left, we have a combat engineer squad just retreating by its own. Right hand side, Pios also going for the cap on that fuel. Conscripts in the house jump out and are going to force the Pios to get out of the point. Pios try to stay in there as long as they can, but the conscripts close the distance and will be able to get them. Pios close right on top of them to increase the amount of damage they can do, but they are taking a lot of punishment, down to 3 men. Molotov even landing on top of the Pios, forcing their retreat, but one of the conscripts actually catches a flame due to its own Molotov, which is unfortunate. MB42 for Chukonoku moves to the right-hand side to capture that point, and at the same time open up on the conscripts, forcing them to retreat. They did manage to defend the point, however, so that fuel will remain connected for the time being. Conscripts guarding the cutoff point, and on the left-hand side, a conscript squad is going for the house. Gonna pop in, take a look at the area, and then pop out. Yeah, that's what they do. Mortar now in the field for Chukonoku. Still no additional tech, only tier 1. He did get himself a med bunker, however. We have more units coming out, and that's more conscripts on the field for Barton, getting himself a 5th one. Does have a lot of manpower at this point. Not exactly sure what he's waiting for. No additional tech so far. His combat engineers are a little bit busy over on the left-hand side, and there they go, they're retreating. So they're probably going to start building something now, considering the amount of manpower and fuel that Barton has at his disposal. Right-hand, or northern, I guess you could call it, victory point. 2 conscript squads just moving around. 1 conscript squad going to jump into the house. Gives some side range. Notices there's a Grenadier squad and MG42 around. Other MG42 sets up to shoot at the house. And the conscripts on the right-hand side are going for a long flank to try to get on top of those Grenadiers. Grenadiers do have LMGs. They'll probably be able to throw a rifle nade. Conscripts jump out of the house after taking on a rifle nade. No, not a rifle nade, mortar. Yeah, I forgot there's a mortar on the field. Mortar has not done anything just yet. Conscripts jumped out of the house, so they're fine. Grenadiers jumping into the house. LMG opening up on the approaching conscripts. Conscripts taking a loss as they approach. Molotov going to be landing into the house. There it goes. Grenadiers jump out. Very nice control here by both players. Oh, nasty mortar shot there. Nails one more conscript, and the conscript squad continues to push forward. They are positioned in a very nice spot to be able to get a flank here on this MG42. MG42 in the center catches this conscript squad out in the open. The Grenadiers with the LMGs are ripping it to shreds. The conscripts, however, on the right-hand side and on the left. Look at this flank, the amazing flank here set up by Barton. Conscripts all over the place, all up in the face of all these MG42s and heavy weapon teams. MG42 gonna get cleared out. Second one turns around to try to face these squads, taking another Molotov to the face. Conscript squad retreating at 2 men. The other one as well at 2 men, making it out of there. MG42 packs up, backs off, and tries to set up in a different angle. Still at 2 men, still alive. The LMGs on the right-hand side trying to stop these conscripts from getting that MG42. The MG42 over here going to get cleared out by the conscript squad that's at 6 men. So it looks that at the very least, 1 MG42 will be lost here for Chukonoku. There it goes. Barton goes for the cap very quickly. Takes that MG42. And this 3-man conscript squad will not be able to capture the second MG42 unless Barton wants to lose both the squad and obviously the veterancy. MG42 on the field sets up and turns its gun against its former allies. Grenadiers taking some shots. Nasty mortar shot, however, on top of the MG42. Rifle nade landing on top of the MG42. Clears it out completely, and the conscripts push forward, trying to get the kill on the Grenadiers. However, the Grenadiers are not going to be able to get killed, or they are going to make it out of there. Mortar getting assaulted by a 3-man conscript squad. Even though there are only 3 men, mortar squads do take 25% increased damage, so a retreat is going to be forced here on this mortar squad. And Barton, well, I guess you could say wins the engagement. He took heavy losses. Molotov was about to be tossed, but he decides to cancel it and instead retreat. 2 MG42s on the field. It does not look like Chukonoku can recruit them, although I think he recruited with 2 men, right? Maybe. I may be wrong. I know that Soviets recruited with 3. I think... Yeah, no, I actually think you also recruited with 3 with the Germans, and you're left with a 1-man Grenadier squad, which you have to retreat with. Tier 3 down for Chukonoku, and we also see Tier 2 straight into Tier 3 for Barton. He did not get himself any anything from Tier 2, it's just a stepping stone, and in order to also be able to have AT guns. But he rushes out onto the field with his conscripts, picks up both MG42s and turns them against the Germans. Conscripts retreating, trying to get back to base to reinforce. And something blew up somewhere, not exactly sure what it was. I heard an explosion. Here? Maybe here? I don't know. Well, anyways, so the MG42s pack up and are going to be placed somewhere else. They do have to be kept a little bit mobile unless Barton doesn't care about losing them, because remember, there is a mortar on the field for Chukonoku. Chukonoku getting himself a Panzer IV, however, Barton has already called in his first T-34, which should be hitting right now. Come on, now. And now, there you go. Right there. T-34 coming down the road. Panzer IV obviously outclasses it, but with nice control, T-34 is still a big threat. MG42s just spread out across the field, stopping any advance here from the German infantry. Far right-hand side, we have an engagement between Pios and a conscript squad. This conscript squad does not have PPSHs, so it cannot kill these Pios quick enough. However, a second squad here with only 3 men coming down with their PPSHs. All 3 men now actually have PPSHs. You can look at them right there. Look, their SMGs. Recent change where the upgrade now provides 3 PPSHs. And the T-34 moves to the right-hand side to support. Grenadiers pushing into the center. The MG42s were forced to retreat. They're back at base, so we'll get healed up and reinforced. And the half-track is on the field for Barton, which is very interesting. Not something you see used a lot, however. It now has... Whoa, that is... Oh my god. Can you actually... I only see 1, though. Why am I following it with myself? I can actually just do this. Well, it has 2 squads in there, but I only see 4 men. However, there are 2 flamethrowers inside of this car. We'll see if that actually comes into play. T-34 and Panzer IV duking it out in the center. Here comes the half-track with its combat engineers. The Panzer IV turns its sights on the half-track, and the flamethrowers are not actually shooting at anybody just yet. Half-track going over to the left-hand side. Going to try to decap this strategic point here. Make it so that Chukonoku is not getting enough resources. And the the T-34, supported by the conscripts, just continues to push forward. 5 conscript squads, 2 combat engineers, and 2 MG42s on the field for Barton. Combat engineers decap the point, cutting off, well, just the munitions essentially. There was nothing else left there. And we have a conscript squad on the far left-hand side just going around capping what it can. T-34 getting repaired by the conscripts, which is very nice because of the Doctrine. You get the conscript repair package. And I guess I should, well, considering that it's coming in right now. Strafing run coming in here by Chukonoku. He got himself the assault support Doctrine. But the approaching Pios and the Panzer IV are a little bit stopped there. The conscripts do get pinned down, however, they get back up. The car is going to be loitering around. We have no upgrade here going around. Oh, that's nasty. The Panzer IV manages to find a hole in the hedge and takes a shot at the half-track. The half-track is now going to move away, but the Panzer IV will be able to execute it. Down it goes, down with an entire combat engineer squad. 2 of the men make it out of there, barely alive, and they get out of there, but yeah, that's a little bit too risky. Grenadiers over here trying to push forward. However, the MG42s are a little bit too good there against them, and they do not allow them to push anywhere into their territory. T-34 pushes forward, trying to get some shots off on that Panzer IV. A nice shot there on the Pios. Almost kills an entire squad. Actually, both of them are down to one man. Forced retreat on one. The other one continues to stay on the field. Should probably also retreat. And on the far left-hand side, the conscripts continue to capture points. Grenadiers running into them. The conscripts do have PPSHs, and the Grenadiers will get a Molotov tossed onto them into that house. Conscripts are taking quite a bit of damage. The Grenadiers are forced to retreat, and the conscripts do abandon the point in favor of attacking the squad that is currently chasing them. Panzer IV moving over to the left-hand side, still with no repairs. The piles are barely getting reinforced here. And we have another half-track coming onto the field for Barton. Interesting. Stug also getting produced for Chukonoku, coming down the road right now. There he is. And the Panzer IV shooting now at the conscripts. The Grenadiers getting chased by them. Conscripts Ura forward. They get in range to throw an 18-8 at the Panzer IV. 18-8, however, explodes on the surface of the front of the Panzer IV, doing slight damage but not getting the crit on the engine. T-34 fully repaired now by those conscripts. More combat engineers on the field for Barton, and his half-track is once again equipped with 2. I mean, is it something that he's trying out, or has he actually tested it out? Because I didn't see the flamethrower shoot, and I only see one squad essentially up there. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Conscripts, MG42s, more conscripts, all of them flooding into the center, trying to stop the approach of German infantry. Another strafing run getting called in by Chukonoku. Going to be able to do quite a bit of damage here to all this infantry. Flamethrowers going off on the half-track. However, as you can see, no, there you go. 2 flamethrowers actually go off. It does actually work. So the higher priority targets are actually the ones that come on top. There's only 4, but there they go. Oh, half-track once again getting caught by the Panzer IV, trying to get itself out of there. The Panzer IV is in hot pursuit, but it manages to dodge it and get itself out of the sight. Probably going to go hide back at base. T-34 trying to chase down that Panzer IV. Going to run over some piles if they don't get out of the way. Panzer IV turns its sights against the T-34 and shoots back. However, it is now behind the lines, and the T-34 gets behind the Panzer IV, doing some nice damage on its rear armor. The Panzer IV unable to shoot at the T-34. The T-34 continues its run and goes straight back once it notices that there is in fact a Stug there for support. T-34-85 called in onto the field. Keep in mind this is just one T-34-85. It is not the same ability as the guard mortar coordinations or some other doctrines that have it. That is a pair, 2. This only costs you 130 fuel and 360 manpower, so it's cheaper. However, it is only one, obviously. So, still, it is another T-34 with a stronger gun, so it's very nice to be able to call that in. Oh, excuse me. Something in my throat, and I forgot my water. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry about that. Grenadiers in the center, retreating as the tanks approach. T-34s moving in unison into the center. We have a nasty shot there on that mortar. Actually clears out the entire squad, forces to retreat. We also have a Sturmovik attack right here into the center of everything. Doesn't actually shoot at anything because there's nothing there. T-34s in the center, getting some shots, shot at by the Panzer IV. The Stug sets itself up in a nice angle to cover this area, although it's now turning around in a weird angle. T-34 does have an angle at the house, continues to shoot, and it now moves in to engage the German tanks. Second T-34 right behind it for support. T-34-85 leading the charge, considering that it has the stronger weapon. The Grenadiers will be able to get a Faust off on this T-34, getting a crit on the engine. There it goes. So T-34 in a lot of trouble. The Stug turns around and is now going to be able to shoot at the T-34. Will probably end up dying. Yeah, there's really no way this is making it out of there. Second T-34 comes in for a flank on the Panzer IV. Panzer IV gains its armored veterans, the armor skirts, that is, which is now going to be kind of difficult for Barton to deal with. Conscripts push forward to get, a nasty 18-8 off on that Stug, getting an actual heavy engine damage. That Stug is essentially immobile. The T-34 pushes forward, going to get itself on the side of the Stug, and essentially just take it out. It can still move, but very, very slowly, almost negligible. The piles are trying to get inside to repair. There we go, it's turning its gun slightly, very slowly, trying to be able to engage the T-34. However, the T-34 will be able to get some nasty shots off. The Stug manages to get a shot off on it, and the Panzer IV moves in with its blitzkrieg to try to force away the T-34. The T-34 is still alive. We got The half-track here behind the lines burning the German infantry. And the Sturmovik is still doing quite a bit of damage. Conscripts over here continue to shoot at the Stug. The T-34 backs itself up, gaining veterancy too as well. And the MG-42 pushes forward to try to pin the infantry for Chukonoku in its base. However, the Panzer IV is there and just shooting at it, slowly whittling away at the men in that squad, and it forces the retreat for Barton. Conscripts on the left-hand side decide to ignore the Stug and just go for the fuel, while in the center we have the half-track at full strength and the combat engineers repairing the T-34. Even though conscripts do have a repair ability, if I'm not mistaken, the conscripts do not repair as fast as a full combat engineer squad, so it's one thing to keep in mind. Still, however, you can have a lot of conscripts on the field and repair even quicker. So, okay, a little bit of a lull here in the fight. Conscripts on the left still capturing that fuel. The Stug is slowly moving out of the way, still trying to crawl its way back to life. The conscripts run straight into the center. They run into some conscripts and some grenadiers. The grenadiers run into some conscripts. The AT gun sets up and shoots at the ground right in front of it, trying to shoot the Stug as it moves. It is capable of doing it, and there it goes. Stug gets annihilated, and that AT gun is going to get pulled back. Grenadiers over on the left-hand side jump into the house, but the conscripts on the fuel point didn't manage to cap it. Mortar getting recruit. Grenadiers running into some conscripts. Veterancy 2 against Veterancy 2. More T-34, the T-34 on the field once again. It looks like Barton is actually wanting to just wait for the 130 fuel for his T-34-85 before he calls anything in. He also needs more manpower, so...
Your orders, comrade.
That is why he's not building anything else. Grenadiers and conscripts pretty close to each other, not being able to do much. AT guns moves into position and is now going to get shot at by the Grenadiers. Half-track moving forward, might be able to flush out that Grenadier squad. Over on the far left-hand fuel, the conscripts are forced away by the Grenadier squad. And yeah. All the troops here for Barton moving over to the front of the munitions. Far right-hand side, an MG-42 is just covering the approach here. And the Grenadiers look like they got annihilated here by the flamethrowers on the half-track. AT shot did go off, a Faust did go off on the half-track, however, damaging its engine. However, there is a T-34 there for support. Panzer IV is moving into the area, however, to engage, and there is a second Panzer IV coming up behind it. However, there is also a T-34-85. Ooh, that is nasty. Turn of events. Barton goes for the ram on his T-34, however, it only manages to get a crew shock on the Panzer IV, which means his veterancy 2 T-34 will be going down. The half-track moves forward to maybe try to, distract a little bit, but it doesn't actually accomplish much. Sturmovik strafing run coming down right on top of nothing. The abilities to ran. We also see a strafing run coming past, so it looked like a little bit of a dogfight there. The Panzer force are moving down into the center, trying to hunt down that half-track. The half-track might get fausted here by the Grenadiers. The Grenadiers are taking quite a bit of damage. They are forced to retreat, and the T-34-85 is nowhere to be seen. It's over here on the left-hand side. A little bit out of the fight. Conscripts forced to retreat. AT gun in the center, able to take some shots at these Panzer IVs, doing some decent amount of damage to this veteran 2 Panzer, down to about 30%, 40% health probably, a little bit less than half. Pios push forward, trying to get on top of the AT gun. The T-34-85 does move into support, taking some shots at nothing apparently. And the MG-42 still in possession for Barton, now actually veteran 2, sets up to cover. Gets pinned down there by the strafing run, but it's still alive and doesn't actually lose much. Doesn't have really the ability to pin or anything, or even suppress, but it will lose its pin effect momentarily. Panzer force for Chukonoku just around the center. Grenadiers getting engaged by conscripts over here on the right-hand side. MG42 turns around to engage the Grenadiers, doing some damage to them as they retreat, but they make it out alive at 3 men, so not a lot of damage really taken. Victory point-wise, we have 426 for Barton, 316 for Chukonoku. Still anybody's game at this point, although it is a 100-point lead by Barton, so he is in a very comfortable spot there. T-34 taking some shots at the Grenadiers as they move across the field. Half-track moving in to engage them as well. Grenadiers getting suppressed by the MG42, and the half-track moves in with its double flamethrower effect and does a little bit of damage there. Panzer IV in the center of the base getting repaired. The other Panzer IV moving in to engage the conscripts over on the strategic point. Half-track overdrives and gets itself out of there. Very nice, very quick half-track there. And moves back to the cover of the T-34. Another 130 fuel about to be gotten by Barton. He actually has enough to call in another T-34-85, so I'm assuming he's probably going to do that. Conscripts down here in the south trying to sneak behind the Panzer IV and get in range to throw an 18-8. Panzer IV will actually have to, actually get an 18-8 off. There it goes. Damaged engine, more conscripts flooding in. Conscripts over here up north getting some damage on the Grenadier squad. Conscripts moving to engage now the Grenadiers. And the T-34 is moving itself down south to get on top of the Panzer IV. More damage going down on the Panzer IV. A heavy engine damage now on this Panzer IV, so it's moving very slowly. The T-34 might be able to get a kill, however, there is the veteran T2 Panzer IV in the way. The T-34 moves in, takes a shot at the Panzer IV and misses. Now it is in range of the damaged Panzer IV, takes a shot. There goes more damage onto the weapon, not the weapon, onto the tank itself. T-34 pushes forward, takes another shot. Panzer IV now down to very low amounts of health. It's about to die, but it is not dying. It is unfortunate. Conscripts throw an 18-8 off on this Panzer IV, damaging its engine. It still has blitz, so it manages to catch off to the T-34-85 and execute it. However, it is now down to about half health, but it is veteran C3. Keeps taking 18-8s over and over again by the conscripts, doing incredible amounts of damage. Conscript retreating at 1 man, 4 and 3 men squads left. We see a T-34-85 getting produced by Barton. No, not T-34-85, a T-34 only, sorry. Getting produced by Barton. Not exactly sure why he didn't call in one of these. He had enough. I guess he values that one a little bit more. And we see the half-track pushing forward, getting fausted by... No, actually, I don't think that was a faust. I think that was a shot by the Panzer IV. Engine damaged. About to go down. AT gun sets up and is shooting at the... Ooh, the Panzer IV over here died. So the veteran C3 Panzer IV looks like it actually got executed. Yeah, it looks like the overlay is a little bit lagging behind there. So there it goes. Okay. AT gun gets decrewed there for Barton, so Chukonoku might be able to pick that up and take it for himself, which is very nice. And his Panzer IV is now back to full strength. However, it is the non-veteran tank. And we see a man here from one of the weapon teams retreating back into the field over there. Quite sad. T-34s coming onto the field, more getting produced. So I think it looks like Barton values the standard T-34s a little bit more rather than the T-34-85s. MG42 moves in to cut off the point over here for Chukonoku, manages to do so and keep the infantry at bay. However, the Panzer IV now moves into the left-hand side and is going to force away the MG42 or kill it off. It is down to 1 man and dying very quickly, so it looks like that MG42 will be dead very soon. No, the half-track distracts the Panzer IV, allowing the MG42 to get away. Ram goes off on the Panzer IV, getting an immobilization on the Panzer IV, allowing it to die. Second T-34 now on the field for Barton. We see an IL-2 strafing run coming down, goes right on top of the Panzer IV, doing some damage, but not a lot of damage. And we see the combat engineers jumping out of the half-track very quickly to get repairs going off on the T-34. They are getting reinforced on the fly as well. The AT gun is now shooting at... Oh, very nasty shot there by the artillery on the stolen AT gun. Manages to kill off one of the combat engineer squads. Second one is forced to retreat. However, the other T-34 moves into range and is going to shoot at the Panzer IV. Panzer IV does gain its veteran armored skirts, but they are not going to do much against a T-34 shooting it at almost point-blank range. And it keeps on missing, however. T-34 stops, takes a shot. Come on. No, misses again. Wow, this is very unlucky here for Barton. There he goes. Finally gets a kill on the Panzer IV. T-34 does end up going down to the stolen AT gun, and the Grenadiers are forcing away that T-34. Conscript squad's just flooding over to the left-hand side. You can call this a blob if you want. It is essentially one. But they all have PPSHs, which means that they do incredible amounts of damage. Those Grenadiers are not going to last long here. Forced to retreat. MG42 backs up and turns its sights against all the conscripts. Decides to shoot at the one-man squad over here on the left-hand side, while the three clumped-up ones, which are a higher priority target, are left alone. T-34 runs into the Grenadiers. The Grenadiers are forced to retreat. And the AT gun takes some shots at the T-34, but misses. Those are just attack ground shots. MG42 ends up getting cleared out by the conscripts over here. They were able to shoot it. The conscript squad on the left-hand side still getting shot at by the base sector MG, which means that they will eventually die if they don't retreat, although it's only one man that's in range, so I guess they'll be fine. Eventually he'll die and they'll get back up. No, there he goes. They actually break the pin and start crawling out of its range. So Barton right now in a very dominant position. You can see here the troops. There's only 2 Grenadiers left on the field for Chukonoku. In the stolen AT gun, getting himself a Panzer IV just to, you know, have something, but there are more than enough infantry and still a T-34 on the field for Barton as well. Fuel-wise, Barton could call himself another T-34-85 if he wanted to. IL-2 strafing run right on top of the enemy base, doing a lot of damage here to the squads. Keep in mind, though, that this is also not the same IL-2 that you are used to. This is just a strafing pass, essentially. As you saw, it only did it once, and that's it. It's not the one that just lingers around and continues to shoot.
Our enemy has only 200 points.
Panzer IV and T-34 duking it out over here on the right-hand side. AT gun moving forward. Grenadiers there for support. They're not moving in range to get a Faust off. There they go, but now they are not in range. But the Panzer IV and AT gun combo should be able to take out that T-34. T-34 backing off, trying to stay alive. MG42 actually takes a shot for it as the house is impacted by the Panzer IV. T-34 continues to shoot. The Panzer IV is in pursuit. The second T-34 is about to complete. Nice shots landing there by the T-34, getting nice penetrations on the Panzer IV. And the second T-34 is now in the field, so Barton should be able to do a nice push back on to that Panzer IV. T-34 gets behind it. Very nice move there. Panzer IV now in a little bit of a tough spot. T-34 swings around inside its own base, and it should be able to get in range now. Yeah, there goes the T-34 over here, the new one. Deals with the Panzer IV quite handily. And it looks like this is going to be it for Chukonoku. He is essentially pinned into his base. MG42 over here getting shot at by 2 MG42s, which means it loses the fight and is currently pinned, which means it needs to retreat or just die. Incendiary shots flying, trying to get some damage off on the MG42s. It actually manages to do something and kill a little bit of that squad. However, with the half-track and its double flamethrowers now inside his base, Chukonoku says the good game well played. Good game comes down by Barton. And then I'm assuming he's probably going to be leaving at this point. There he goes. It's nice to see those good games now coming down. So very interesting play here. It looks like Barton was experimenting with this doctrine. So I don't know if he prefers the T-34 standards to the T-34-85, because as you saw, he decided to instead build T-34s rather than T-34-85. Maybe they're a little bit more cost-effective as far as their actual cost. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Anyways, so I hope you guys enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replays you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email that I will put in the description. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.